Alrighty gang, my name is KillerGinger1 and welcome back to our Legions of Nagash Let's Play for Total War Warhammer 3. When we left off, we were being assailed by a horde of ratmen. I did the siphoning in Nahazzishar, and I'm pretty sure I might have overdid it. The neighbors were not too happy. We disturbed a lot of very angry rats, and these rats have guns, I'm afraid. Warp lock Jezzails, rattling guns, warp fire throwers, even warp lightning cannons. They have poison wind globadiers. All very nasty stuff, doing a lot of damage. They have a hell pit abomination. And their main infantry line is not the Skaven slaves or the clan rats we have been facing for the last few battles with the ratmen. No, these are storm vermin. Their most elite frontline troops, the best of the best, having armor of a 90, melee attack and defense of mid-30s, weapon strength of 32, some with shields, some with halberds. They are leagues above what we can bring to the battlefield, but hopefully having the home field advantage and our Ushabti bone throwers, our bone golems, Nahazzishar guard, and Cairn wraiths might be enough to hold them. We will have to see what the fate of Nahazzishar is on the battle map. Alrighty, gang, welcome to the heroic defense, not heroic, we're evil, the defense of Nahazzishar from the hordes of ratmen. We're gonna get this started off right away. CA has a problem with elevated defenses, with desyncing of the battles. Hopefully that's not going to be a big issue today. We will see. For the most part, right now, we're going to have a heroic defense of the Western Front, but the main battle itself is going to take place in this corner right here, which is where we're going to focus on the most. So, we have no towers here, no defensive capabilities whatsoever, except for these two tower emplacements that we are going to upgrade as soon as we can. Our bone thrower is going to sit here in the courtyard, eyeing it, getting ready to bombard the enemy. And right now, we have warp fire throwers haranguing our archers on the wall. Meanwhile, the Skaven Vermintide has reached Nahazzishar. The storm vermin are hitting the ladders, and they are going to ascend these walls and give us what for under fire from our archers. Meanwhile, we got rat ogres now bashing down the gate. The gate will not hold for very long under that mutated haranguing. Those muscles warped by horrid experiments. The enemy's warp lightning cannons, which do magical damage, which is unfortunate for our ghosts, are going to bombard the fortress of Nahazzishar. Crimson Peak in the background there. They're going to continue to bombard us. And look at that. They're going to try and break down these walls. The walls, in fact, are almost caved in. Meanwhile, they have a hell pit abomination. Look at this foul creature of cruel vanity and destruction. This is rats made flesh, a horror made manifest. They have their warp lock Jezzails bombarding our units on the wall as we try and hold. And we have now a breach. Only Nagash himself will save us in this portent. Our troops are getting bombarded as we speak. We are going to send our forces up to the breach to hold it as best we can. Our archers behind the wall shooting up and over, bombarding the enemy as they approach. Meanwhile, those warp lightning cannons are tearing our archers a new one. We are trying to respond back in kind, but our firepower is limited. Meanwhile, the first wave of the enemy has arrived. A hell pit abomination is moving on the right side, along with a few more poison wind globadiers. These guys launch glass globes, if you can't tell, that are on their hips of poison. Do immense amounts of damage. We want to make sure these guys do not see the light of day. And they're also going to send another unit over here, which is scary, which is the Plague Monk Sensor Bearers. Look at these foul creatures. Those Sensor Bearers cause magic and poison damage, which is very, very dangerous when we have ghosts. Meanwhile, back at the main breach, we have a lord, a master assassin named Ronan. He is trying to come across, but he has been caught by our Ushabti, and they are going to welcome him with dual blades in hand. Meanwhile, the Skaven were very sneaky. They almost took out our artillery with our bone throwers, launching a horde attack behind our lines. We tried to defend them with spears, but obviously they did not hold. Meanwhile, the enemy's gutter runners are going to try and advance. We're going to bombard them. The rat ogres have broken through. Our spearmen now trying to hold the best they can, and that hell pit abomination has reached the inside of the wall and is going to wreak utter havoc on our skeleton boys, destroying all those in their path. We're going to try and focus it down with our archers, and our bone thrower is going to do as much damage as we can to that creature as he wreaks utter havoc. One thing about the Hell Pit Abominations is they have quite a few nasty bonuses to them. They have regeneration, they have wounds, which causes them to, as a hex for if the enemy. So with wounds, what it does is it causes base weapon damage minus 20% and armor piercing damage minus 20% in a hex around itself, which is going to be horrible for our spearmen trying to hold the enemy formations. They are a molder monster, and when they die, a unit of ratmen emerges from them. So they are a nasty creature. We're going to have to do our best to hold. Meanwhile, our skeletons on the wall are being ripped apart by those storm vermin. It is not a pretty sight. And as the hordes finally reach, the second wave has arrived. They have a mutant rat ogre in their midst, an absolute abomination made flesh, warpstone causing mutations, and cruel science experiment made into a horror that we now have to face. They have more plague sensor bearers causing poison and decay as they go. Nasty creatures. Meanwhile, in the courtyard, their Hell Pit Abomination has reached our line. We are going to send our Cairn Wraiths into battle, and the desyncs have already happened. So, unfortunately, despite how cool this battle is, the desyncs are causing it to where the movements and the orders are not correct, but we're going to try and enjoy it as best we can. What I have done is I've arrayed our Cairn Wraiths out to sally out. Our Bone Thrower did not die. It continued to bombard the enemy position as we speak. Our Cairn Wraiths managed to kill that Master Assassin. Meanwhile, our Cairn Wraiths also are going to focus on taking out that Hell Pit Abomination, trying to bring him down. Our Archer Towers are going to continue to bombard the enemy formation. The enemy is pulled up in the courtyard. And the monstrosities, they just keep pouring in. Now our Cairn Wraiths are going to continue to hold back that Hell Pit Abomination. They're going to do what they can. Fortunately, they have physical resistance, and the Hell Pit Abomination does not have magical attacks, so it is a win-win of an engagement. Our tower was not destroyed. It was able to defend. Our bone golems now are going to move up, trying to hold that front line there. Archers, meanwhile, taking position, going to bombard the enemy as they arrive. And the casualties so far are pretty even, 1,000 on each side. Meanwhile, on the left flank, we are desperately trying to hold off the enemy as they pour on through. Our Vampire Lord was over here. He was holding to the last man. We were able to send the enemy packing, but the Hell Pit Abomination broke through and was going to wreak absolute havoc on this city center. We have a Bone Thrower over here that's going to continue to bombard the enemy as they try and break through the settlement. Meanwhile, we have our archers on the barricade, firing into this absolute horde. They are pushing through. Our second bone thrower now. Originally, I would have had the bone thrower fall back and bombard this formation, causing cataclysmic damage to the enemy. Unfortunately, that's not what's happening in this replay. Meanwhile, our bats are now going to be sent out to the rear. They're going to do what they can to the warp lightning cannons and the ranged units as they come in. Our Ushabti have seen off the Master Assassin and will join the fight. Our bone golems are going to do what they can to hold off the Vermintide. As you can see, it's just an array of monsters. A nasty, horrible culmination of Skaven technology, mad science, and an insane amount of warpstone corrupted energy. We do squirt fear musk out of our non-existing glands. We have our Nahazzishar guard in the rear for this exact reason, in case the enemy breaks through our lines and tries to take our positions. That Hell Pit Abomination is doing absolute untold damage to the Ushabti, ripping them apart. Our Lord, our Vampire Lord, is by himself, dueling the hordes of Skaven that came across the way. Our skeletons were able to stay around. We had about 2 or 3 units of skeletons over here that were able to rally to the Vampire Lord and send these rats packing. All the while, all hands on deck, we are forcing our every man into the breach here. As you can see, they've managed to break through in this replay, but in reality, we held them here for a very long time. Yeah, I'm kind of upset with the way these replays are going right now, because this is not how the battle managed. We managed to hold this very well. Casualties are piling up as the rats continue. We're attacking them from the rear with our bats. We were able to take out most of their ranged units and send the bats into the breach to hold as best they can. It was one heck of a battle. I wish you could have seen it. Maybe we're going to have to, for this next one, unfortunately, play these siege battles in real time, which is not my favorite because you're going to have to see it up here like this. Yeah, this battle is scuffed. Our Lord died, which has not happened. I might just fight this battle again and show you how it went. I have the replay saved, but unfortunately this is not how this battle went at all. We were able to hold them at this choke point for a very long time, tearing them apart, and when they finally broke through with their overwhelming numbers, we met them again on the field of battle over here, and were able to, with our Nahazzishar in reserve, we were able to see them off. But that's not how this battle is going to go out. I imagine this is an alternate reality that the scryers were able to detect when they made an oracle prediction on this battle, and that is why these ratmen decided to attack us. We did, however, send our skeleton spearmen into the plaza to fight this Hell Pit Abomination. We also had our bone throwers bombard the enemy. That Hell Pit Abomination managed to rampage its way all the way into the central plaza here until it was eventually brought down by one of our reserves of Nahazzishar Guard. But unfortunately, that's not what happened in this, in this replay. The enemy has a lot more units this time around. What ended up happening is when you see how these are shooting arrows, originally they were upgraded, so they were shooting screaming skulls, which did a significant amount more damage, and that right there causes the main desync. So maybe if we want to have defensive battles in the future, we're going to have to do so without the towers. And that applies to offensive siege battles too, unfortunately. See, now the AI does not know what to do. Yes, originally in the battle they were losing, but you can see in this battle they're not. Maybe what I'll do here is, if there's enough requestment, if there's a big enough call for it, you can watch me fight this battle again in real time. But it is unfortunate the way it's panned out. This is not a defeat. This was actually a victory. I swear. Please, I promise I wasn't cheating. No, yeah, just an unfortunate thing about doing, or trying to do all replays. This battle took about 20 minutes to complete real time, and we absolutely slaughtered each other. There was maybe about half our units standing. See, yeah, our units are crumbling now. Army losses, and that is the end, unfortunately. The Skaven, in an alternate timeline, stealing the victory. The actual battle was a Pyrrhic victory, but in our favor, and you're going to see the consequences of that on the campaign map. Thank you for watching. Alrighty, gang, that was one heck of a defense. A Pyrrhic victory it was. We have lost so many bony boys in that battle. All of our Ushabti, all of our bone golems. Our Cairn Wraiths managed to come back. All fought to the last man to defend their master's home. We gained $5,000 with that battle. We are going to gain... We're going to gain even more money from that. We have to pursue these enemies. We have to slaughter them. We can't let them retreat and regroup because there is another army coming. We have to get rid of these guys as soon as possible. Hopefully, with the amount of casualties left on the field. Let's focus on Nahazzishar for the moment. Hopefully, with the amount of casualties left on the field, we are able to raise a retinue of undead.
This night march.
We have to advance. We have to take the fight to the enemy. Slaughter as many as we can. Hopefully this will be enough to get some decent auto-resolves. It is not. We are not going to risk it. We're just going to have to wait for the enemy to emerge again to our front line.
This better be important.
Meanwhile, yes, it is very important. We're going to get casualty replenishment rate. We're going to get the Invocation of Nahek, which causes health regen for our soldiers. Very critical in that last battle, as you can see. We are going to get the Dance Macabre, because any amount of any bonus to our melee attack is quintessential. We are going to get the Hunger, so that way we can give our Vampire Lord health regen, so long as he is not broken. So, the garrison has been semi-replenished. We are going to spend our recruitment phase getting even more archers. Those archers were absolutely essential in that defense. I don't know if we'll be able to get the recruitment off because the enemy is right at our gates.
No.
This time, they're going to have enough movement range to get all three armies.
My bloodline calls.
It is only a matter of time. Our walls are crumbled. Our garrison is barely holding on. It's going to be a very precarious situation. We may end up losing this if we cannot hold it again. Fortunately, though, in that battle, we focused down a lot of their monsters. As you can see, the Storm Vermin weren't as potent as we thought they were. They were held up by our hordes, dragged down into the muck with the balefire towers raining down on them. Meanwhile, with Nagash, we are going to start marching him north. We definitely want casualty replenishment rate for him. We're going to see what's out there real quick. Our big bony boy walk. There is Scarbrand and his forces. We're going to sit at the edge of our territory there. Getting some income. Going to get some casualty replenishment rates. We may start looking towards unlocking some of these here recruitment buildings, but not today. Not for right now. His army is absolutely massive. We may have to go back through the portal, back through the passages, and try and reclaim our homeland if we can't hold. Hopefully, Ulmar Helstien will be able to hold. Now with those two units of legendary regiments of renown, the Throne Guard, um, with their physical resistance, their perfect vigor, they're unbreakable, which means they won't run into the issue with crumbling. They have charge reflection. They have physical resistance of plus 40. Of course, the problem with physical resistance is I believe it gets negated with magical attacks. Fortunately, the only things that I see in the Skaven army that do magical attacks are their ranged units, which, if we keep our units in the back, we'll be able to do well. I don't think we're going to invest in any more infrastructure or defenses with Nahazzishar for the moment.
What do you want?
We need to save what money we can, because if we lose Nahazzishar, we are going to lose a huge chunk of our income.
Yes, Arch-Necromancer.
Meanwhile, I think we're going to take Archon and...
No, fool.
I think what we're going to do with Archon is just keep him held up in Numos. The Black Pyramid, of course, is still ours. So far, we are not at war with any of our neighbors, so we don't have to worry about that. In terms of research we can do, I think we're going to need to get Neferata on side next. We're going to need more Legendary Lords, more Morghast, more Tarks, lots of more Moors in order to continue this campaign and to get enough of a sprawl to counteract these people. I'm going to have Nagash go up north to chase down the hordes of Khorne. Hopefully, if we can secure that northern border, meet up with our friends in Morgheim, we'll be able to secure a northern border and make an income out of these. You know what? In fact, I'm going to send Archon the Black out to Qatar. Maybe he can colonize that and get the income back up. He can't seem to reach it just yet. He decided to take a nap. He's really enjoying that chaos corruption. An imminent rebellion in Numos. Not good, but our garrison has been rebuilt. It should be able to turn away any sort of horde that spawns there. Especially if his Tomb King's Oyas has seen fit to challenge our power there. Of course, meanwhile, Drazoath the Ashen and the Knights of Calador, I think his name is Emmerich, are now going back and forth between the Bone Gulch and the Fortress of Vorag. We see another meta stone. There are so many meta stone rats here. I wonder if it's like a Japanese thing with the last name first. Maybe they're all a big family. Unfortunately, there's a lot of them dead today, being slain by our hands. Vilmark von Karstein has come up to take a vacation at Numos. He wants to see what we're up to. That's fine, so long as he's willing to fight a few Khornate berserkers while he's at it. I'm very curious to see what the Skaven is going to do this turn. I am very nervous. Infectic, Ronin. They now have all three stacks. It is a decisive defeat this time. They are very confident in their abilities. Our wall strength is at 95%. We have yet more blood to shed at the steps of Crimson Peak. We will. Fortunately, their reinforcements are going to take a bit. Hopefully, they will. With the hordes of bats that we have arrayed in this formation, unfortunately our constructs and monsters are not nearly as strong as they were. They did a lot of work that last game, but our Nahazzishar guard, which we kept in the rear, was able to stay at pretty high spirits. We're going to see where the enemy deploys, how they deploy. Hopefully, with the reinforcements, they spawn relatively close to the enemy allied army, and they just funnel in waves in one directed point so we can focus our attention on one spot instead of having it scattered around the map. I will see you all in this battle. Alrighty, gang. Obviously, as you can see from the last battle replay, we did not lose. We actually won. We're going to see how faithful this battle is. First things first, we still have the breach, which is where, fortunately for this battle, the majority of the allies are going to, or the Skaven are going to pour through. Same as always. We have our same defensive setup again. We're going to build our 2 towers up as soon as we can afford them. Have them bombard the breach. We're going to have our archers on the walls with our skull towers, peppering the enemy as they pour in. We are now at first sending our bats in to bombard or to destroy this horde of ranged units. They have very minimal melee defense, and they're going to be caught out and destroyed. We really want to get rid of that siege weapon. Fortunately for us, the Allies' reinforcements are going to come in too late in terms of their siege units, and they too are going to get caught out, and the remainder of the bats from this battle are going to proceed to go over to their reinforcement zone and slaughter them as well.
Out of the sewers we come.
Our bats able to tear apart their ranged units. There's not nearly enough troops over on this line, but we don't need them because they're going to be able to answer any response. When the enemy sends a detachment over here to flank, they're going to come through the broken gate on this side, and we're going to answer them with our small horde. And fortunately, these carrying rates are going to be just enough to send them packing. They have no answer to their ethereal traits. Meanwhile, battle is joined. The enemy is over the wall. Our skeletons are going to do what they can. Meanwhile, the rat gunners are standing in the gate, bombarding us, pouring fire in on our archers. We are going to continue to hold. We're going to focus down fire, send our archers out. We're going to have skeletons attack these ratling guns. Meanwhile, the main horde is going to pour on in. As you can see, they sent a detachment of a few melee units and a Night Runner's Slinger unit out to this flank. Our bats are finished harrying the enemy ranged units, so they're going to come over here and stage themselves for the incoming artillery. You can see that the next wave of reinforcements is going to be a few flamethrowers, some more mutant rat ogres, and a warp wheel, I believe, is a Skaven doom wheel, sorry. Once those guys reach the field of battle, the last few units are going to be their siege weapons, which are going to have no support, and the bats are going to proceed to absolutely annihilate them. Meanwhile, I was able to catch these foes out in this cluster formation, and we are going to launch one of our 3 bombardment spells here, the Legion bombardment, as soon as we can. I believe it is right about here when we start the bombardment. But they have an absolute tide of clan rats, storm vermin, brood horror. It's just going to be pouring in, flooding into that breach. They're going to run right into that breach, and we're going to answer them in kind. This time we have our Lord Ulmar Helstien, victor of the first siege, and here we go. Here's that bombardment now. Just going to tear them apart. Look at all that damage. We're going to do that 2 more times as they come in, tearing them apart as they try and rush their way to the breach as quickly as possible. They got a doom wheel now, coming in as soon as it can. A wicked machination of warpstone and insanity is going to do damage as it rolls over top of our units. Meanwhile, in the breach, we're able to see off that first horde of units, that master assassin. They're going to try and send in a unit of clan rats behind us and our archers, but we're going to have our constructs answer the call and destroy them, hopefully before they tear out that unit. Again, another desync here. We were able to hold on to these bone throwers for a lot longer, constantly bombarding the enemy as they pour through this breach here. But meanwhile, we have more bombardments here, just constantly bombarding the enemy as they try and pour in. They have 2,700 units left. We have a comparable number. Meanwhile, only the siege units are left in reinforcements. We are keeping our bats in reserve, ready to answer the call as soon as they come in on the battlefield. Meanwhile, these troops over here on this right detachment are going to pour in through this gap. We're going to see that at this gate, and we're going to answer it with our Cairn Wraiths and our skeletons. As you can see, they're pouring in through that gate. Meanwhile, in this desync, they were able to destroy our archers. The archers were saved. Our bone golems were sent in. Our troops were able to hold. In fact, some of those bone golems, despite their low HP, were able to hold into the field for a very long time because our vampire lord was here to answer them. Meanwhile, the zombies are just there to hold the enemy back. They're currently crumbling right now. They do not like what the rat men have to answer, especially with the mutant rat ogre. Meanwhile, our tower is going to be constantly pouring in fire over here. We're going to constantly be pouring fire into this gap, doing untold damage to them. Our archers are on top of the gate, shooting at whoever they can. Their warp fire throwers are going to answer us with a volley of green corrupted flame. And as you can see now, their siege weapons have arrived on the battlefield. Our bats are going to immediately answer and slaughter their crews. Unfortunately for us, because they were on the border, they're going to hit the deck, run away as quickly as possible, and we're not going to be able to completely annihilate them. Meanwhile, we have a very healthy reserve of Nahazzishar guard in the rear. We're going to hold this ground as long as we can. And now you can see our constructs are now rushing into the breach along with our skeleton spearmen. They're going to do what they can to hold back the Vermintide as they clash in. Meanwhile, those plague sensor bearers are going to flail themselves around and do an uncountable amounts of damage to those skeleton spearmen. Along with that brood horror. Look at that adorable little thing as he tries to chomp us with his very too many sets of teeth. We're going to have our archers primarily focus on the big creatures, the mutant rat ogre, the doom wheels, the brood horror. We're going to have them focus on them while our constructs are going to focus on keeping the enemy horde back. Those rattling guns died very quickly indeed. They were not here long enough to destroy this. But unfortunately with this replay, they are here. And they're going to do damage to our ranks. These weapon teams were not here because we were able to bring our bats from the rear to the siege engines and attack the enemy ranged units from the rear and annihilate them in a flanking pincer maneuver, which unfortunately caused the death of all our fell bats. But it was able to do its job and see off the enemy weapon teams. But as you can see now, those towers are going to fire down on the enemy. They're going to completely destroy and bombard. They're going to do a horrendous amount of damage as the rats just try and force their way through our units. But fortunately for us, our bone golems are too resilient. They're going to be stuck out here for almost the entire duration of the battle, just tearing apart rats as they go. Meanwhile, this is about time we send in our Revenants of Morkan and our Throne Guard. These gentlemen right here with the Throne Guard were absolutely destructive with this battle. Unbreakable, completely mitigating the issue with undead armies where when the morale breaks, the unit crumbles. Unbreakable meaning that they will fight to the last man, to the last strand of health, and they did so in this battle. Absolutely tearing apart enemy forces with their armor, sundered armor ability, which takes about 30 armor off of the enemy unit. Meanwhile, our Revenants of Morkan, a unit of 32, has scurry away, an extra speed. They have wounds on them, which reduces base weapon damage and armor piercing by 20%. They have Frenzy, which gives them a boon of plus 10 to melee attack, plus 10% to base weapon damage, armor piercing weapon damage, and charge bonus. And they're immune to psychology. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading off the... that was a mistake. I was reading off the Mutant Rat Ogre. The Remnants of Morkan have Tormented Execution, which gives them 28% bonus to weapon damage and armor piercing damage if they're below 20 hit points. They can hide in the forest. They're a strider. They have physical resistance of 40%, and they cause terror. That was my mistake. I was reading the wrong unit card there. Meanwhile, these Revenants and Morkan are going to howl and cleave the enemy rats in twain, while our Throne Guard are going to defend Nagash's throne on Crimson Peak. They're going to do their job brilliantly, and they're going to absolutely destroy these units. Obviously, this is not the point in which the bats land, but it's close enough, I suppose, for this replay. Our Vampire Lord Ulmar Helstien is going to be constantly dropping his invocation into Heck, causing heals to our allies, resurrecting dead combatants, and healing our forces, which is going to keep our men in the fight, especially those bone golems, going to constantly be in the fight. And then he has the Van Hels's Dance Macabre, which is going to give plus 24% melee attack to units. And all of these are going to be in Overcast, which means that not just targeting a single unit, or the original spell targets a single unit, but with an Overcast spell, it targets it in an area effect like so. Going to give these guys plus 38 melee attack, plus 1.6% health per second. And the rats, horrified at our resilience and the horror of facing these terrifying foes, are going to start breaking and running. This desync might be a little bit more accurate to the happenstance. We'll have to wait and see. Now, as you can see on this left flank here, the enemy are pouring through the gate, but our Cairn Wraiths have answered them. They are going to cleave the rats as they come through. Cairn Wraiths are ghosts, obviously, so they don't take physical damage, or at least it's mitigated by quite a bit. It's imitated by 55% physical resistance, which means with no bonuses like magic or flaming attacks, they only take less than half the damage or weapon strength damage of the unit that's fighting them. Meanwhile, we saved our Nahazzishar warriors, the dual-wielding skeleton swords, to the very end. They're going to... originally, they were going to answer the enemy that was trying to take down our Bone Thrower. But in this case, the Mutant Ogre is now sandwiched between two units of Nahazzishar Guard, which is not going to win against because it's going to be sundered. And those Nahazzishar Guard, being legendary footmen, are going to just rip them apart. The Bone Thrower now is going to be firing in on this choke point, causing untold damage. Obviously, in this case, it has not been given the command to fire, which in the actual battle, it was. Let me know if you guys want to see this battle replayed as well. I will be more than happy to do that because I'm kind of disappointed with how these replays are. I did not expect the... I don't know what I expect, honestly. I thought that CA would have fixed this by now, but obviously not a whole lot of people use the battle replays, so it's not the main issue. Not the main issue for them right now. As you can tell, Pyrrhic victory, but in this case, a Pyrrhic victory for our side. They had too many units. At this point in time, they would have ran out of steam long before with the constant Bone Thrower bombardments. And now we are going to see the consequences of their defeat on the campaign map. Thank you for watching. Oh my goodness, guys. Alrighty, so with another heroic cataclysmic defense, equal casualties across the board, even more money in the bank. If anything, this is managing to supplement our budgeting problem. But just the constant barrage of Ratmen sailing the walls. This time they lost a lot more units. We were very fortunate there that our bats were enough to see off their hordes of artillery. That would have been very bad if they managed to get off shots into our settlement. Our Bone Throwers seizing the day with the constant barrage on the enemy's formations as they clumped up into the breach. We were very lucky they managed to just go straight into that breach. That's it's exactly what I was hoping to happen, and it did, and we were able to see them off from that. So what we're going to do now is we are going to get more army replenishment rate. We're going to see them off. We have a half stack. I'm trying to figure out how we are going to defeat these armies without them putting our settlement in danger. We have to defeat them. We have to see them off. Metastone Snarl is trying to take Bitter Bay. Okay.
Ready.
We are going to have... Alrighty, so we have unlocked Neferata. I'm sorry I clicked through that a little too quick. Oops, sorry. Neferata, Mortarch of Blood. So, the first vampire, a Lady of Shadows, her entire coven back in the fold. If you don't know, Neferata was the first vampire in the Warhammer lore. She was looking for the key to everlasting life, and through her myths and discoveries in dark magic, she has found that eternal life wasn't necessarily what she was asking for. As all vampires from Neferata, the first, are now slaves to Nagash's will. And we're going to make most grateful use of that. We have also received the legendary weapon Akhmet Kar, the Dagger of Jet. The blade's cursed edge screams with the death and agonies of the innocents and saps the vitality of fighting spirit of its victims. Enemy hero success chance minus 10%, melee attack plus 6, bonus versus infantry plus 15, and a passive ability called the Dagger of Jet, which causes damage over time in a range of 30 meters around the hero or lord. 8 to 16 damage per second, causing minus 15% to speed, armor-piercing missile damage, basic missile damage, basic weapon damage, and armor-piercing weapon damage. A very legendary weapon indeed. We have successfully defeated the following lord in battle. Verminous Invasion. Feskit has been seen off at Nahazzishar. The coming from their lairs, the Skaven invades. Send these pests to the abyss, and to the abyss we have sent them, howling with horror in their eyes as we continue to destroy them and carry on Nagash's will. We're going to have to reward... Ulmar Helstien very well indeed for his services defending Nahazzishar's and the Crimson Peak. We're going to recruit a few more units. We are going to sally out and attack Bakbak. Apparently one of the Skaven hordes, the Lord, was defeated, and now Bakbak takes his place. Unfortunately for him and his retinue of 47 halberds, led by Hadar Snarl, they don't stand a chance. They don't have a candle's wick of a chance against Ulmar and his horde, so we're going to just instantly send them to the abyss. We're going to take that money and run. That's another $1,000 in the bank. Poor Bakbak was not going to see the homeland of the Skaven anytime soon.
Darkness comes.
And with that, Ulmar is going to retreat back into Nahazzishar and lick his wounds. The enemy, too weak, taking vermin, not replenishing. They are too weak to threaten Nahazzishar ever again. So now we are going to focus our attention over here. We have Genevieve Diudon, a legendary wandering vampire. Let's see what she has available to her. She is a distinguished lady, immune to diplomatic penalties when trespassing for the embedded army. Oh! Okay, so she's a debutante, which means she's going to give us relationship with humans plus 30 if we max it out. She's going to have high-class courtesan, which is going to give us... if Genevieve starts a turn in the Empire, Bretonia, Kislev, or Vampire counts territory, plus 15 diplomatic bonus with the region owner, once per 5 turns. So, she is definitely a courtesan we can send out to grease the palms of diplomacy when it comes to invading the realm of man. Obviously, we are not there right now. We are stuck in Khemri. We are forced to fight in the swamps against Khorne, but hopefully soon, very soon, Nagash's armies will lead northward to the realms of the men and to the Empire. The Empire's main god in their pantheon is Sigmar, which is a human who reached godhood status, very much like Talos in Skyrim. And in the lore, I can't remember the full story, but in the lore, one of Nagash's... in fact, Nagash himself was slain by Sigmar in a heroic battle before Sigmar founded the Empire. And so we have a vendetta against Sigmar and his troglodytes in the low-down, filthy empire that he reigns over. We have Beloved of the Sorority. If Genevieve starts in a turn in a province with 80 or more vampiric corruption, embedded forces gain 10% XP and replenishment all units in the army. Oh my goodness, she is something. And no, I mean really lovely. Just a glance to stop and stare. You think you're moving, but you are going nowhere. This woman is a masterclass in diplomacy and beauty. She is what poets write about, evidently. So we are going to give her income from all buildings, local province. Trusted consuls. We're going to give her trusted consuls. That's going to give her plus 4% local province income. Once we leveled up to level 3, it's going to be income for all buildings. Right now, we are going to use her as a infrastructure hero. We're going to dump her off in the former site of the Black Pyramid. I love that. They renamed it to the former site of the Black Pyramid. Obviously, the Black Pyramid now is with Nagash. But being as it's one of our highest value incoming provinces, making 1,620 souls, I guess. If we dump her over there, that'll be another plus 4%, which would give us an additional, maybe 40 gold a turn, which will get bigger over time. We just want her to boost our income. Meanwhile, Archon the Black is going to go to Qatar. He is going to colonize for 2,500 bucks. Fortunately, being a tier 1 settlement, it's not going to take long to get that up to speed. Now that we have we can try and see if Scarbrand wants to fight us. He only has 6 units. He has definitely lost his horde from when he was sitting there taking attrition for like 8 turns in a row. We can either send Nagash out to attack. We can raise Argul Migdal and give ourselves a buffer, and hopefully by that time... You know what, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go send Nagash out to bloody the nose of Scarbrand. And it's going to turn into a battle. Evidently, the settlement garrison is strong enough to stand up to Nagash. I don't believe so, but we're going to fight this battle. However, we are running long, especially with those 2 massive sieges with Nahazzishar. So we're going to save this battle and the showcasing of Nagash, the Supreme Lord of Undeath. We are going to showcase his powers in this battle in the next episode. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.